migratory fish species. The Ministry is vigorously doing all it can through various forms of intervention at the local, regional and international levels. Madam Speaker, the Ministry has identified a number of non-tuna species as a start to be turned into fisheries that will take the pressure off from the over-reliance on tuna, and also further diversify the fishing industry and further open up new raw materials for fishing and export. Further support for the already feasible snapper fisheries is being pursued, and we are also further pursuing the issuance of special licenses for mahi-mahi. The further research into seamount and sites for deep sea species of blue nose and diamond black squid will be completed this year to be further turned into fisheries as well. Madam Speaker, the Ministry is making progress in engaging regional counterparts whose exclusive economic zone borders our waters, namely Wallis and Futuna, Kiribati, Solomon Islands, Tuvalu and Vanuatu, to give our Fiji flag tuna boats access into their waters to enable them to fish. Although they will be competing with others wanting to fish, but it avails our tuna fishermen the opportunity to catch more in other waters. Madam Speaker, these are our neighbors who fish our shared regional migratory tuna stocks. Madam Speaker, licensed tenureship, which was usually issued for 1-year term, has now been lengthened to 3 years. This should enable our offshore longline vessel operators to plan their operations strategically in the longer term than a 1-year plans that they used to have. Also, within the 3-year terms, Madam Speaker, the license now is transferable within the company to any of their vessels, should their licensed vessels run aground or operationally have gone obsolete. Madam Speaker, this will be a major relief to vessel owners, but we continue to monitor under our regulations and in our sectors, and this remains stringent. Also, to assist them operationally, license fee can be paid in installments. Madam Speaker, to continue to ensure ecological sustainability in the offshore sectors, fish stocks and each species are regulated to be harvested sustainably. In the sector, a national total allowable catch is set annually at 12,000 metric tons. As alluded previously, TEC ensures sustainable extraction of tuna stocks and other offshore fish stocks within Fiji's EEZ. It is set on alignment on the fish stocks assessed to be in the offshore zone and was worked out with the assistance of SPC and FFA and continues to be reviewed biannually. TEC, Madam Speaker, is also maintained to stop the depletion of fish stocks. In arresting the depletion of stock, the catches can sustain the annual harvest and also assist stock recovery and allow new entrants to enter into fisheries and build up the stock base. All this contributes to a healthy and sustainable fisheries and build a sustainable industry. Madam Speaker, Fiji maintains this tax system, and this also ensures that the correct sustainable amount of licenses are issued annually. Ensuring sustainable stock level, but maintaining it at a profitable level, challenges government. Madam Speaker, to secure this, the Ministry of Fisheries maintains a license cap of 60, a number that ensures sustainable harvest, so far to further ensure long-term sustainability at the interval of 2 years. A maximum economic yield assessment are done, MUI, so as to ensure the fishing companies are being issued with a sustainable number of licenses, enabling them to continue to catch fish, and what they have caught will viably sustain them and the people they employ. Madam Speaker, in the inshore sector, the sustainability challenge is also an overwhelming task. The stocks aren't yet overfished, but are overexploited. In some divisions, stocks of certain species are dwindling, and certain species caught shows undersized and immature fish are being caught, suggesting impaired capacity to reproduce, suggesting an overexploited condition. Madam Speaker, like in the offshore sector, where licenses are issued to control entry, in the inshore, entry into the fisheries is controlled by licensing. The Ministry continues to update its stock status through inventory surveys as to attain the license numbers it has to approve and which fisheries it needs to reduce its harvest. Madam Speaker, the latest initiative pursued in strategies to control depletion and sustain healthy stocks is seasonal closure during spawning seasons of species, which are now further enforced. The Kawa Kawa initiative, our NGO counterparts pursued with us, was an example. Meritoriums like the current turtle ban during breeding period and also with hammerhead wrassie. And the ban of the underwater breathing apparatus, UBA, which is an unsustainable method of extraction and at the same time destructive other initiatives the Ministry is stringently pursuing. Madam Speaker, the Ministry stringently pursues the culture of some specialized species like giant clams, trochus, and now has made progress into Holuthian scabra on Dairo. The intent is to further support what has previously been done so as to restock the depleted reef stocks and rebuild the biomass of these species. The restocking initiative, Madam Speaker, is being completed by locally managed marine setups in our coastal areas to enable its management so that it is not abused. Madam Speaker, I wish to mention here in regards to collaboration with our development partners from donor countries through their assistance to ongoing new fisheries projects, which has made significant headway. This subject was covered at length during the question time this morning, and in brief, I will just give out the few main areas that we have been able to secure. Hainan Province for Makongai Research Station to develop giant clams, and also for aquaculture, Koika for geothermal energy power plants for cold storage, China for solar-powered refrigeration for the maritime islands, Packard Foundation for information systems, Guangdong Province for infrastructure development, USA for breeding of disease-resilient Panama prawns. Madam Speaker, after the devastation of Cyclone Winston, there was a massive destruction of fish habitats that disrupted and caused major changes in resource population and ecosystems due to the sudden environment shock. Few ecosystems affected in such major ways will bounce back to the same state they were in before the serious shock. The fisheries inshore sectors was affected in such a way that building up resilience of habitats and stock, the Ministry will have to make a lot of progress in strategizing to alleviate this. The Ministry has started deploying more fish aggregating devices, FEDs, outside the reef system to lessen the pressure on the inshore fish. As even before the devastation, a large proportion of immature fish in the catch is taken as evidence of impaired capacity to reproduce, suggesting an overexploited condition. 3 islands in Lomiviti Group and 2 sites in Kandahar has just been recently deployed with 12 feds. Feds has also been positioned in northern Vanua around Rambi and Buda Bay. Madam Speaker, this initiative was part of a setup of 4 fishermen associations in Lomiviti Group to manage the promising catches coming from set lines and fishing around feds. Tuna, pakapaka, mahi-mahi have been caught, alleviating the pressure on the emperors and gropers and other inner reefs. In support of the above, Madam Speaker, the Ministry has organized fish collection from islands through private buyers, providing their own platform for purchase, and has been providing consistent service, especially in Ngau, Koro, Ovalau, Motoriki, and Kandahar. 10 new feds will be deployed in the northwest coast of Viti Levu with the same intent. This initiative will benefit Ndau Samu and the Korotubu district in Rau. Fish collection in Vanua Levu is well established with the new highway from Labasa to Nambawalu and connection to Natovi for Viti Levu. Madam Speaker, a new method of fishing has been introduced to these islands also that have rejuvenated the fishing activities. The Ministry staff from inshore section with knowledge and expertise gained from overseas training in Japan and other Asian nations are using the same technology coupled with local non-GM materials, have now successfully transferred their skills and has been quite successful. What about the other islands in the maritime zone? The question may be asked. Madam Speaker, the other islands, they are being trained, and those with no preservation methods for post-harvest, except for smoking of fish and drying, have already been considered with solar power deep freezers to assist this disadvantaged group. Madam Speaker, the Ministry has not forgotten the inland dwellers and highlanders who would like to be considered in fish protein provision through our aquaculture projects. About 1/3 of the Ministry's assistance was used for their benefit. Majority of our highland dwellers are unable to access sufficient nutritional food to ensure their health and well-being. Fish, particularly produced through aquaculture, is commonly cheaper than meat, and a lot of requests for assistance from the interior and the highlands were attended to. The recommended fish per person per year for good nutrition is 35 kilograms. So the assistance to the inland dwellers was a means to provide the nutrition through fish and prawns from aquaculture. Furthermore, Madam Speaker, farm fish can also be sold at village community level to earn some income, which can then be used to purchase items, to purchase basic items. The freshwater aquaculture program serves close to 500 fishermen in the 4 divisions through the provision of fish, prawn babies free of charge, training, extension advisory, and technical services. Most of these farmers are inland rural farmers who farm for subsistence purposes, ensuring food and protein security. The Food Security Program, which assists farmers with the provision of a one-off grant for fish farming activities, targeting both new and existing farmers, were also available to inland or highland farmers. Madam Speaker, this project provides the capital cost for genuine farmers who have the potential to sustain their fish farms and develop it further to address food security and income generation. The project finances the initial cost, and the proceeds of profit from their first harvest are then reinvested into the fish farm for growth and development. Madam Speaker, the latest development in the highlands, which the Ministry trusts will create a lot of impact amongst tilapia farmers, was the recent training conducted for the farmers by the Ministry and the Secretariat of the Marine of the Pacific Community. The training, Madam Speaker, is designed to build up resilient farmers who, after a cyclone or without the sustained supply from their former source they used to rely on, can breed or culture their own tilapia babies. About 50 to 70 farmers, both men and women, participated in this long-week course called the Hapa Breeding Course. The farmers now have been trained to breed their own tilapia rather than wait for the Ndurulolo and Zamboni team to supply them. Madam Speaker, another new development that will impact all farmers and also farmers in the highlands will be the arrangements pursued by the Ministry with our development partners and donor countries for aquaculture exports who will be deployed to Fiji. The Ministry is negotiating the term of employment for 1 to 3 years for such assistance. Madam Speaker, monitoring, control and surveillance, MCS, operations in both sectors, inshore and offshore, is stringent, although the intent is to increase efforts in this regard. The Ministry has a great challenge fully and effectively to implement its enforcement and monitoring responsibilities, as it needs to be there 24/7. Although the usage of a vessel monitoring system continues to physically enforce this, the Ministry will need to provide enough personnel and platforms to operate from, and this is one of the key areas the Ministry is focused to develop for long-term sustainability. Patrols for both inshore and offshore use surface method, whilst Navy and Police assist in coordinated and concerted effort in real-time surveillance. Madam Speaker, to continue to ensure the effective control of illegal, unregulated and unreported fishing, the Ministry remains a member of the Observer of Regional Fisheries Management Organization like the Western Central Pacific Central Commission.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I will now call on the Leader of Opposition for her designate to speak in response.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.